where I'm like, people are just dying too much, and they're like, Soldier, you're just playing your life, like you're not helping.
Yeah.
So I just want to be sure that I'm actually not playing my life, and I'm contributing to the team
Yeah.
enough.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Well, we can take a look at that. I mean, that's a pretty fair assessment to where it's like I have a pretty good KD most games, even when we're losing. Um, and also, I do have the capability of like disengaging fights that are lost, and maybe I should be looking to trade, or maybe I'm just disengaging too fast. Yeah, yeah. Seems like definitely something we want to look at. Now, I want to address the allegations, the Soldier allegations first.
Yeah,
um,
favorite.
because they're it's true. Like Soldier, I don't think is all that good. Like he's just kind of vanilla, middle of the road. He's never going to be an optimal pick in really any circumstance ever. He's never really going to be a complete toss pick. Okay, sometimes he will be, but very rarely. Like maybe like Circuit Royale, first point versus snipers, right? But like mostly not horrific. I think like breakpoints have changed. I think like the heal station nerf has also been not a major nerf, but it's definitely not a quality of life thing for you. His ult just doesn't scale very well the higher you go. Let's just face it, Soldier's not that good of a DPS. All right, that's just how it goes. Okay, but I don't think it's impossible for you to climb to. I would go as far to say like top 200 with the character. Like you have a lot of ceiling left to go, and remember the limiting factor when you're with your improvement is how much fun you are having and how willing you are to apply yourself. So if any other character just doesn't speak to you all that much, then you probably should stick with Soldier. Excuse me. But the question is if there is another character that you do enjoy applying yourself to, then you might as well go for it. You know, like there isn't an easy answer here, and that's really just you need some self-assessment and experimentation to find out if that's the case. And I know that you've played other hit scans before, but you got to make that decision again now.
So that my other backup is Sojourn, and I think she's had, she's had a lot of changes to her. She used to be all railgun, and now she's like still mostly railgun, but a lot more primary fire now. But
Yep.
the season 9 changes kind of really messed with like her breakpoints, and sometimes it just feels like I'm infinitely chipping away at people, and I can never confirm the eliminations that I need.
Yeah, partly skill issue, but yeah, fair enough. I think the changes to her disruptor shot and like the changes to like how fast you build rail have helped a great deal with that. But yes, very fair point. She's certainly relying off of you hitting headshots with rails, right? Like even though it's not a one shot anymore, the break point really means that I think what is it like 140, 150 with headshot, right? Pretty big deal if you do get that one. It might be more than that actually. Let me actually look that up really fast. But in the meantime, it is really important that you do hit the rail headshot to secure the kills because otherwise, like you said, you can put out a lot of damage, but you're not going to be able to secure the kill, and that's going to feel a little bit like Soldier at times as well. Yeah, it's 150 damage with headshot, so very important that you do hit that headshot. Yeah, I mean, if you like Soldier Sojourn, you could make it work. I mean, neither of them I think are particularly strong characters at the moment. I think they're playable. I think they're a lot of fun, and I think the best things that are the best news that you really have is that they're both fairly flexible, right? Apply yourself. If you feel like you're going nowhere with those characters, consider adding another character or trying another character. But really, frankly,
I got one left in my repertoire, and
all right, what's that?
Reaper.
Yeah,
Reaper's actually pretty decent, just because
yeah,
he can
Reaper is
live, I
pretty
think.
decent. Yeah, yeah. I think the spread is the big thing with him right now. He has so much more damage from like medium range that he just never had. It just allows you to secure so many kills that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. And obviously, little things like teleport change are definitely a big deal too. Yeah, I think all fine. I think we'll focus on skill issue right now. We'll see if Soldiers and Sojourn's life quality improves. I'm always trying to give feedback, especially for Sojourn. I really would love if they would remove that rail delay. I hate it so much. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. In the meantime, let's focus on what's a skill issue. And
Okay.
I think, like, again, to close the door, you can hit Grandmaster with the hero pool that you have. You can. If that's your goals, you can get it. Short term, I know for you is reaching Masters, so congratulations on that. But at a certain point, I think for you, it's like you're going to have to embrace the fact that, like, yeah, I might be playing with ankle weights here with the hero pool that I have, but, like, that's not stopping me from dunking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could do it if I was good enough.
Others have done it too, so I should
Yeah, and there's other people that do it right now. Like, I mean, like there are people legitimately out there that do it. And I mean, if Metro can hit Grandmaster playing Soldier, then I think you can too. Now, his mechanics are crazy, and I don't know that you'll have his level of mechanics, but I think you can compensate with having like an actual brain for positioning, which we'll talk about obviously in this review. Now, before we move on, because you are a very special example, because it's been a long time since we've coached. But we obviously did talk a great deal about a lot of different things. Now, I'm looking back at our notes here. We were focusing mostly on Cassie and Ashe, which we haven't moved on anymore. But obviously, I'm sure many of those things that we've talked about did apply to Soldier, did apply to Sojourn. What of those things do you feel like you've kind of internalized skill-wise? And what of those things do you feel like, what things are you struggling with understanding and or execution?
Like in terms of Cassidy and Ashe, or
in terms of you've learned other hit scan characters, you must have some level of game understanding that has trickled into your Soldier and into your Sojourn, right?
Well, so Soldier was actually the first really hero that I really ever played, so he's never really been like someone I didn't know how to play. And I feel like with Soldier is the value you get is 1-to-1, if that makes sense. Like you don't really get any freebies with Soldier, but you don't really get anything. I don't know where I'm going with that, but
that's fine. Keep cooking.
Sojourn, I think the worst problem I have is my ult usage is just awful. Like I'll even remark to myself when I pop ult, I'm like, I mean, it's probably not good to think like that, like because the mental is just as important.
Yeah.
But there's way too many times where I'll slide in aggressive, even though I know I won't slide in ever. But then as soon as I get my ult, I'm like, well, all the enemies hiding behind a wall, so I need to go get them instead of just, staying alive instead and maybe just chipping at anyone who peeks out.
Yeah.
But a lot of my rail overclocks, I'll either chip down at someone and never get the elim, or I just die. Like everyone looks at me Genji style and I die.
Yep.
And I know that's completely on me, and I hate how I just haven't changed that yet.
Usually the rule of Soldier is just flip the script. So stop sliding in, instead walk to or slide very carefully and then kind of sit on the most aggressive angle that you can take without feeding, then press Q. Mm-hmm. So then you're in a situation where it's like, okay, they either ignore me and I get free shots, they run away from me, and they run right into my team. Because remember, if you take a very aggro angle, the only way to hide from a very aggro angle is to feed into the rest of your team, right? That's just always strategically true in first-person shooters. If you take an aggro angle, the only cover from that aggro angle is usually in a position that's actively horrible versus your team. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, how do you run from a tracer in your backline? By running directly into the enemy team. Okay, so they either hide from you and feed to your team, they ignore you and die to you, or what's the third option?
I live on the angle.
Sure, but that's the ignoring one, right? What if they jump on you, like you said earlier? Well, that's why you start on the aggro angle. Don't slide to the aggro angle. You understand? So what you do is you basically are expecting them to rush you and then slide out. So that then you've essentially, again, pulled attention away, kept yourself alive, and maintained your sideline for longer.
Right.
So instead of sliding to the angle, take the angle and have your Galaji free card.
Having the discipline to get to that angle and then waiting until my slide cooldown is maybe very close and then...
Correct. Yes.
And then ulting.
You got it. 100%. That's it. And that's really all there is to it. Once you do that, literally the ult gets a value by itself. You don't have to do anything else with it. Outside of, calm down, hit your rails and so on, but it's really just that simple. The problem is that people don't like to do that, so you're gonna fail with it over and over and over again. But it's legitimately free value, even if you don't. The funny thing about that is there are worlds where if you follow that order of operations, you might not get a single kill with your ultimate, but you'll still win the fight out of it.
It's that not passive, but that
it is,
invisible value that
exactly.
It's hard. Yeah.
Exactly, but that is the way to do it. If you're not doing that, then there is a world where you press Q and you do get no value, right? That's not good enough. You do need to get some sort of passive zoning value, like you said, indirect value, whatever. And if you're not following those steps, then you're not going to get it. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at it. But yeah, I mean, I think that's so. Take angle first, then press Q.
I'd rather kill no one than die, so I'll definitely give that a try.
Right. Yep. And so what will happen is you'll pivot around from like killing 3 or 4 because they ignore you, or like killing no one but your team still wins the fight, or you'll press Q and you'll force another ultimate, and that's fine too. So yeah. Okay. Any other questions or any other? I guess again that kind of goes back to the question of like, what things do you feel like you've executed on to get to Masters?
So I remember. Maybe this is off topic, but I remember last time I had told you that I was interested in team play. So I had joined a team, and I think I was with them for a couple months, like maybe 4 months. And I think it was like, I know the numbers don't really matter that much anymore, but it was like 3.8K is like what they said the level of the team was. And I actually, I even tried to find it a while ago. But you did a team VOD, I don't remember the team's name, and it was actually a scrim against my team. And I watched the whole thing just to see, like, your perspective from both sides. And I think the biggest takeaway I had from it was like the push pull.
Yep.
And I think that's a very simple concept, but people don't really get it. Especially like when I was like when I've been climbing the last couple months or a couple weeks, I've noticed that it's not really something that lower ranks really understand.
No.
Like the build pop orbital, which is like if you don't have something to match that, like you're dead.
Correct.
And people are like, oh, I want to go in and fight this. It's like you really can't. Like, but yes, their team disbanded a while ago. But I've just been debating on whether or not I should go back to team play or not, because it was really fun. I really liked it.
Well, then what's holding you back?
Just finding a team.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when you're not like when you're super high ranked. I think it's easier to find one because they're like, oh, we're looking for.
Well, there are more
GM
teams.
Ones.
It's crazy. It's like
Yeah.
as the players get rarer and rarer, the teams get more and more prevalent because players at that level are more serious, right? So, I would say just do if there's any easy discords to offer trials for, and do it when you have convenience and so on. Like, I wouldn't jump through a million hoops, but like your level of interest should match your level of effort in finding a team. If you're kind of interested, then kind of put some effort in, right?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
In regards to push pull, I mean that's something that the reason why it doesn't apply in ranked often is because most fights in ranked are pretty static, right? Like because pushing advantages and kiting disadvantages is generally a level of coordination that's not relevant in ranked, even in higher ranks. However, there is something to be said for micro push pull, which would be the equivalent of, to put it in really basic terms, Tracer on an angle, Tracer gets a recall forced, she still holds the angle, she just doesn't push from that position because she's down resources. You kind of get what I'm saying? So if she does get pushed, she might play quote unquote slow, which really means that she gives up space, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. For your example, it would be the exact same thing we were talking about earlier, where you're like, I feel like I'm avoiding death too much because I run away. Well, are you misrecognizing the push-pull? Are you running away from an angle that you actually have an advantage on, right? You should be pushing your advantage. Are you pushing when you're down your heal station or your helix in a situation when you need to instead be pulling? You kind of get what I'm saying? Yeah, anyway, that's kind of like the approach. And we could talk about that. But it's more about recognizing advantages on an individual basis, not just a macro skill.
Right.
Okay. Anything else?
No. I think it's all
Gameplay
my
time?
questions and stuff. Yeah,
Let's do it.
Garb this real quick.
Thoughts on Overwatch Classic?
It's crazy how much elims you can get compared to the amount of damage you do.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many interactions that I had completely forgotten about that. Like, I'd forgotten that Reaper Wraith doesn't reload your guns and you can't cancel it. I forgot about that. Zarya, I forgot that you could get 50 charge off a single bubble.
Yeah, it's wild to see, like, Mercy be a must pick. You're like,
also,
what world is this?
I am duoed with the Ana in this game.
Any questions before we get full rolling?
I don't remember this game too well, so I'm just hoping I made mistakes that I can learn from.
So why did you choose the code? Just because it was a close game, or what?
I remember this wasn't a blowout, and I remember me and my duo were like, we felt like this should be winnable, but we didn't, and maybe that's a consequence of it being a push map. I remember you speaking a lot about push on that
Group up.
the pod yeah group up. Because we had the advantage to begin with, and then it like very quickly flipped. So
Yeah.
I was just like trying to think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a very volatile game mode, but I think the way to look at it is like, how good are you when the chips are down? Kind of a moment, right? Mm-hmm. So, from a competitive integrity standpoint, maybe not the best, but yeah. Okay. Let's take a look. I'm trying this up just a bit. So I'm gonna go in. I mean, we're gonna be. Let's be honest. Like, you've played this character a lot. You don't need to be told exactly how the character should function. If I see a discrepancy between how I expect you to play and how you do play, I'm gonna call you out on it. But we're not gonna have you explain how to play Soldier. You've played him at a master's level. You hit Grandmaster, if I remember correctly, with Soldier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Long time ago. So let's just watch. Like the burst control. Rams on your angle, so you just find a different angle. It's fine. Thoughts on the weapon?
It's really cool, and the kill effect is so cool.
I don't like the juicy noise. It's my only thing. I'm a juicer hater. I don't like the ash skin for the exact same reason.
Oh.
But it's like I feel like I'm shooting a sponge. No real complaints here. The only thing I would say here is that when you had space, you leaned more into the play my effective sightline when you could have had an effective sightline and a flank at the same time. Always choose the latter. Always. With very few exceptions. Maybe if you're playing like into a wrecking ball. But even then, it's more about like you need to be the one baiting the wrecking balls engage. So where would that be?
The left lane,
Yeah.
where it would be behind him right
Correct.
now.
Correct. So this is the mistake. This is where you need to be. You're a full, I don't know, like 20, 25 meters away from Genji, which is really where you need to be. You need to be here. This is how you secure kills. This is how you bait resources. This is how you abuse the fact that you have a mercy pocket, or even if you don't have the mercy pocket, you abuse your mobility. The problem with this positioning here is not that you're doing nothing, but it's not quite enough.
I could be doing more.
You could be doing more, correct. You could be getting a lot more reward for a little bit more risk. Because let's be honest, it is more risk to go left. It is. It's just strict is, but it doesn't mean that's the wrong play. So for me here, I look at this and I'm thinking, oh, this is a good position if you're on Ashe, okay? This is a good position if you are like, I don't know, like an Ana or a Zen, something that doesn't have the luxury of taking those angles, but you can and you should. And so if you don't, you're going to be outvalued by other DPS playing those optimal positions. So abuse the angle. I like the sightline. I like the range that you're playing versus this comp. I mean, obviously just maintain your distance here. But like this is a great example, right? Like that's not your fault that your Sigma pushed up, but it is your fault that you're unable to secure these kills. Like you look at this here, don't tell me that you don't secure kills here. Don't tell me.
No, absolutely.
And certainly pull attention away from your Sigma here, because the problem with this wall is exactly what it does, where the wall, it ends up accidentally walling you off even though you are on a high ground. So this is a B position when you needed an A. That's the level you're competing at right now. Good. I actually think you can hold if you just keep running. Ah, yeah. That's okay. That's fine. I think you catch the wave. So, where's your A position?
I'm either gonna be behind him, like the bench, behind the bench there, or I like to wrap around far right.
Like here?
Or if the cart... Yeah, once it's pushed enough and once my team engages, I usually will...
Sorry.
Or maybe not immediately, but like...
But eventually.
Once it's in front of the mega door, I'll be here.
Okay.
If it gets too far around the corner, then I'll take the high ground, or I'll wrap far right.
Okay. So let me ask the question a little more clearly here. Where do you need to be right now? Like right now?
I'm not sure.
What's the angle that's most relevant right now? Okay, let me ask the question. Yes, this one? No. This one? No. Takes too long. Where do you
Are you talking about the window, maybe? Well, they're in there now.
They're in there. No. 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 Okay. What's the only angle that you can take then? This entire side sucks. I mean, in theory, you could go here, I guess, because it is early, and so this is, like, not terrible. But give me
Okay, then
another
the
option.
other side.
Yeah,
the other side.
That's it. Just take your angle here. This is your A position right here. And then that can rotate in through here as well. It's just far enough. Now, as the cart rotates, you're going to need to move. But for right now, this is the angle right here. Like, you sit here, Merry Christmas. Right?
I believe I called for nano visor here.
Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. This is only fine because of nano visor, so I'm not going to nitpick. But yeah, this is fine. I guess this would just be a good thinking exercise of what if no nano visor, then what would you do? You get what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't do this even if I had visor. Like, it's not enough survivability. But hey, we have nano. This is going to work. Good. Really good job, like, expecting the pressure and kind of rotating out. I think the best way to look at that nano visor is that was like a tanking nano visor because you were a tad early. What you did is you didn't really get a single kill out of it, but you blew like literally every single cooldown, got space, and then allowed your team to follow up off of it. So it was a very risky nano visor because it was so early, but I don't really have any problems.
Yeah, looking back, watching it back like this, I would have maybe wanted to have my Sigma out of that room with the
Correct.
Ram, because the Ram
Correct.
just turned around and was like, oh, I'm going to run at him.
But I don't really care that much because you played around your resources, you played around their attention really well. And what that is if you go back and look at that fight, which we won't, but you can kind of picture it in your brain, that was push-pull. That was push-pull. You pushed with a serious resource advantage. They threw everything your way, and you backed out. You notice that? You backed out. And then when they disengaged away from you, you pushed back in again. And then the Genshin came after you and backed out, right? That's exactly what you needed to do. And that concept is extremely important from a micro level on Soldier. And you did that one very well. Where's your A position?
By the taxi.
By the taxi. You
Is
got
it a taxi?
Yeah, it is. Maybe
Okay, it is.
maybe not quite this close. I would be a little bit closer to here, just so that I have like permanent cover. But yeah, this is fine. Like the concept of what we're doing here is good. Yeah, this is good. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Your job is to apply pressure on an angle. Once Mei has seen Ice Block here, she's no longer your responsibility. Your job is to deal with this. Your job is to deal with whatever you can shoot here. You're going in to get a kill, and you're giving up space. That's fine if the fight's won. It's not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You need to hold your angle. You get what I'm saying? This is your job. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously that's just like the mistake here though isn't just, oh, I got frozen by Blizzard. That's just a goofy error. You shouldn't have been here in the first place. We needed you here. We needed you here. You understand? Hold your angle. Apply pressure from your angle. Because the problem is this. This is your fault. You see this? That's your fault. This was your angle to hold, so you needed to hold and apply pressure on that angle. Go. Yeah, there you go. No. What do you do? When we've committed to left, what do you do?
I mean, I could commit against them, but
Correct. Correct.
like keep going forward
Correct.
here.
Or further left. Yeah, keep rotating. Keep going. The rule is when you take an angle, you commit on that angle, and then you either shallow or you deepen. You do not flip the map. Almost ever. Unless you absolutely have to. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, like, you've committed far left here. To go all the way back here, first off, would not improve your angle at all. It's just stack with your team. But it will also be a massive waste of time. What's a shorter rotation? To rotate to, like, let's say taxi? Or to rotate all the way back over here?
Yeah, taxi's right there.
You understand? Taxi's right there, and it's also actually an angle, because it was an angle 2 seconds ago, and it's continued to be an angle. So the rule is always shallow or deepen. Don't flip.
Okay.
That's not 100% true, but that's about 95% of the time true. Make sense? And that should sound familiar because it's the exact same mistake that you made here. You did it for different reasons. You wanted to go kill the Mei, but the same result where you had an angle and then you ran all the way to a different spot in the map and then we're out of position. You notice that? You take an angle, you hold an angle. If, for example, you had gone, like, let's say here. Remember when the fight was happening here? This probably would have been a little far. But if you go, oh, I don't like this angle. I'm just going to run over it. No, stop. How would you have pushed from this position here?
Push?
Remember the fight here with the nano visor? Like, let's say that you took this flank instead. What would you have done? How would you push your advantage?
Go through bridge.
Go through
instead.
bridge. You would deepen your angle here, and you deepen your angle here, and then you deepen your angle here, right? Let's say they pushed you. Everyone runs your way. Where would you go?
I want to say right, but
Yep.
I feel like
No.
okay,
Yep,
so
yep.
right.
Yeah, just the most just shallow, right? I went the wrong thing. So you're gonna shallow this way, right? If you started on right, which we were talking about here, and they run away from you, how do you deepen your angle from here?
You go through the right door,
Go through the right door. How do you deepen from here?
up the staircase, or
Up the
through other
staircase.
door.
It's a circle. You notice that? It's a circle. It's a circle. You just draw a circle. You're drawing a circle. You got it. So from here, you've cleared this angle out by catching the Kiriko with the pants down. Congratulations. So keep going. You've earned it. Keep going. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just figured that we lost both our supports.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because the way to think about it is there's two ways to think about it. And maybe this goes all the way back to your initial question, all right? With your KD. Remember that?
Yeah.
The only way that you win this fight is on that angle. The only way. Because that's the only way you can clutch it. It's a high risk, high reward play. And a play that you've actually invested a lot of time into, right? I mean, look at this, right? Merry Christmas, okay? Now you might think, oh, I might die. Yeah. And you catch the wave, you're there for next fight. Is you staying alive here valuable?
If I can get a trade,
Right? But where's the best position for a trade?
well, in the fight.
Right. And where? Right? Are you in an optimal position to get a trade here, or are you in an optimal position to get a trade here?
No, not at all.
You kind of see what I'm saying? So for you, you're playing your life to get a trade in the worst possible position to get a trade. You dying here and getting a trade is fine. You getting a kill here and clutching the fight and not dying is best case scenario. You dying and not getting a trade at all is not that bad. What you've actually done is you've played the worst scenario because you're actually in the worst position to get a trade, and it gets worse than that. You're in what I love to call the stagger position. Because where you've positioned yourself where it's very low risk, or very medium risk, and low reward, but you're still killable here. Look at their comp. That Doom can still chase. That Kiriko Moira can still chase. That Pharah can still chase. So I see this all the time in all ranks where they go like, okay, let's back up because we've lost one, but they don't commit to an angle or they don't fully back up. They think, oh, maybe I can get a trade. Your position right now is how you get staggered. How you get chased down and staggered. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You've set up on the angle, commit and die on this angle, or if you're gonna run to their spawn. So that then they're gonna either waste time chasing you or they're gonna ignore you, and you're gonna be in a perfect position to flank backline for next fight. The simplest way to think about it is if you've taken an angle, die on the angle, push pull on that angle, but don't run all the way back to your team. Don't run all the way back to your team. Because you're not gonna get a trade here. And if you do, what did I say?
Exactly.
Right. Now, obviously, a lot of that is Doomfist. Like, let's not lie. But you open yourself up to that. Okay. Commit to the simplest way to think about it is whatever angle that you choose, you deepen or shallow on that angle. You don't second guess yourself entirely. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you're willing to die if necessary, if the fight's lost, or you're willing to go for trades if the fight's lost. Where should you be? A+ position. What do you got?
Right. No, right side?
Tricky, right? Like left feels okay, but it feels a little close. So I would say left, but I want you to peek late, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let their attention be pulled now. You run into this, you can win this fight. You might get traded, but it's worth, okay? You said right side, which I assume would be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fine too. Just be ready to run, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? Still decent, right? Lots of space created. You disengage, you grab mini, you listen, and then you go back in again. You do it again, right? I would also unironically say a position like this wouldn't be too bad because you are still in a bit of an angle, and the Doomfist obviously complicates things. So honestly, you got a couple of options here. I want to see you just pick one of them. This is floating, right? You've not really committed to either angle, and so you're not really utilizing your mobility.
They're at an awkward point where I think I'm maybe rotate back up to height, but I feel like either left or right is a really long flank in this time, and we're fighting, so it's like I don't really have the time for that.
So let me point out the error. The error happens now. because you have all the information that you need on your screen. You can see your team's outlines through walls, and you can see the robot's position, correct? You can see it on the top. So this is where you need to make that call. And yes, you do have to make that call blind, but you can make a very educated guess running back to this fight. That I think this will be here. Oh no, there's a Genji here. I gotta like play this. Maybe I'll rotate away and go here. Oh, I'm gonna rotate here. Oh frick, there's like a Moira Genji here. I actually can't push that. If that happens, GG's go next. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. But at least make them think about it. Right here, you're just kind of running behind Sigma and going, oh, I don't have it's too late for me to rotate. I mean, yeah, but you're the one that put yourself here in the first place.
Correct.
So again, this feels very similar, and honestly even a little bit worse than where you were here. Where, yes, you're playing a long sightline versus a Pharah Genji Doom. I like your range here. I think this is appropriate range. You don't want to get closer than this, but you're not checking the angle box, and that's where we fail, right? You don't have to flank necessarily, but you do need at least a bit of an angle here. And even something like this or this, right? We talk about like this was at least better than being on the cart. Well, now you're not even doing this, right? And I want to see that change. But hey, we play effective range. Enemy comp takes a team fight, honestly, standing in the open versus Ana, Torbjorn, Soldier, Damage Boost, Sigma. Like, that fight location just isn't very friendly to them. I'm gonna be real. Commit to the bit. Take left. Even versus Doom. Even versus Doom. If you're really basically here's the way to think about Doomfist. As long as he doesn't hit you with the cooldown he uses to close the distance on you, you're fine. Okay? So in other words, it's the same thing with Genji. If Genji dashes at you, but he doesn't hit you with the dash, you're fine. If Doomfist slams at you, but doesn't hit you with the slam, then you're fine. If Doomfist punches at you, but doesn't hit you with the punch, you're fine. You kind of notice the pattern here? If he only has the one cooldown left, he's all in. And he doesn't have enough damage or follow-up generally to punish you. He only has enough to kind of spook you. And honestly, that's just a skill trade at that point. Make sense?
Yeah.
So I think that's why you would probably argue here why you wouldn't take the trade. By the way, where's your A+ position in a second?
Probably go right.
Probably go right. Yeah, probably go right. Take the angle here. And again, you got to be really disciplined. I'm not going to lie with you. This is not easy. This is spooky. Maybe even you just kind of sit here for a second, but you got to be thinking a few steps ahead.
Meteor strike.
What do you know about the enemy's position, and where should you go? The voices are speaking to me.
Left. I saw Genji go in there. I should go left.
You hear Doom, you hear Genji. That angle is wide open. Take it. This is called dynamic positioning, which is essentially the complicated way of saying where enemy, where I go. They right, I go left, right? They've vacated this lane here. Even without heal station, this is Merry Christmas. And by the way, you probably die doing this. I don't care. I don't care. Again, goes back to that KD, right? You are the playmaker here. You're going to create space. It's going to be well-timed. You're going to not play in the open. You'll probably pop it like here. Let's cook. Because the reality is are you safe here?
Somewhat, not because I know Doom and Genji could definitely, because they're in the other room behind me, and Doom is actually in ult.
Yeah.
So I think actually I know Doom ulted. I think I'm looking for that. That's what I'm looking for right now.
Do you feel okay? This is gonna be a weird way of describing things. Do you feel weird adjective here? Do you feel compressed right now?
You know what? Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I think I would agree that.
Why? What has the enemy team done really well? In fact, the best way to answer this is to kind of get a little bit strategically pilled here. Watch the blue circles for a second, okay? Or the white. They've changed the overlay in replay viewer, which I don't necessarily love, but yeah. Look at how they take space here. Do you see it? Do you see it? Even the Moira's positioning. They're moving forward. They're moving basically from cover to cover. And now all of your poke characters don't really have sightlines. Mm-hmm. This is the consequence of you not taking that flank. Because remember, if they compress in one way, they're opening up areas elsewhere. But if you're not smart enough to recognize that, you're not going to win. So, for example, if I was coaching your Ana here, what's the problem? Where should your Ana be right now? Small adjustment.
The bridge?
The bridge? the bridge, and honestly, leaning left, like really leaning this way, right? They've compressed this way, but they've just basically said there's literally nobody over here, honestly. You could basically play here and play, but you're honest not taking that space. Watch how her position changes. So she's too focused on healing the Torb, and indirectly has just compressed her sightlines to where she can't possibly hit damage, she can't possibly hit sleep, she can't possibly hit nades. And now, do you see how vulnerable she is to dive now?
Yeah.
Look at the Pharah, look at the Moira, look at the Doomfist in the very bottom left of your screen. She screwed herself over. This is her fault. She sucks, right? Coach Spilo would never. You're doing the same thing, though, is the problem. So I want you to take angles or lanes that the enemy team gives you. Right now, they're compressing right. They're compressing close. You didn't take the opportunity, and now look at how much space that you've lost, and then now they've closed the distance and you're dead. You see that?
Yeah.
Now I want to point out, this fight is not lost because there is space available still. With the information that you have on your screen right now, where should you be?
Left.
Left, far left. They've opened the lane. Now you're like, well, I don't want to feel like by the time I get there, yeah, maybe. But this fight is not winnable here. You don't have an angle. You don't have a long sight line. So what are you really going to do here? I will bet my next 7 children on the fact that you're not going to clutch this fight from this position. right? It's just bad. You don't have a sight line. You're compressed. You see this? Do you see this? Like it just there's just no space at all. That's soldiers. The reason why I'm harping on this macro concept so much with you is because of the character that you're playing. Because the character that you're playing should never have this problem because you can reposition. It's not just about running away from threats. It's about finding offensive space that's given to you. What angle are they giving to me and being there? Ashe could never. Honestly, Sojourn can't even do this consistently. You understand? Take it. And right now, it's the same thing. You know, right now, you have all the information that you need. What space is given? Maybe not right now, but in the next few seconds. Where do you
go? Let's see. Where's the bot? Probably. I could go right.
You sure could. I think you have to. Because if you're thinking, what's the problem with here?
It's very open.
Well,
it's also very short.
That's it. That's the one I was looking for. It was good before when the bot was where?
Back further,
right? You actually had distance between yourself. But you know where that Genji is going to stage from. He's going to be right here. Genji, Doomfist, they're going to be right here. This is too close. Where's your angle on right? I mean, nowhere. Like, there's nowhere, right? Like, you could maybe roll a dice and do something cheeky here, but it's so tight. It's just not going to work. You only have one choice. And that's to wait for your segment to get relatively close. 3, 2, 1, and peek here. And yeah, you might die. That's just the nature of things. Because there's no other position available. Your other alternative is to sit back here and hopefully catch them overextending. But that's not a playmaker idea. You need to make play. Let's see what you do. Does all this make sense?
Yeah, and I've been laughing to myself for a few minutes because when you've been talking to me, I remembered that Metro clip on Gibraltar where he was in their spawn. If you remember what I'm talking about.
Yes, I think I do. Yes.
Where he was dueling the Kiriko.
Yes. I remember. It's like, like you take space, you take productivity, and that's why Metro is like never really consistently. But like the problem is that like this takes like, it doesn't just take you being crazy, it takes you being very calculated, right? I'm not just saying perma-flank 24/7, turn your brain off. Some of these angles, it's been actually rather more passive, but you got to be smart. You got to be filling the space that's available and maintaining your range. You're thinking about it. Now. Right now. Probably not this way, though. Probably here. Now you're going to get marked by Pharah. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to have a Mexican standoff right here. That's actually a totally inappropriate use of the term. I think it's 3 people's a Mexican standoff. Whatever. Yeah, you're going to have a standoff, okay? And you're going to be like, okay, I know she's there. She knows I'm there. But you know what's going to happen? Is you're going to end up marking her accidentally. Are you familiar with that term?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a standoff between 2 people fighting for an angle. Who wins this 1v1? I don't know.
And that's actually a great point because you're about to see what Pharah is about to do to everybody right now. I just remembered what happened.
Shockingly, they compress the sightline because it's close, and you're dead.
Yeah.
Right? There you go. Right? Yeah. I understand. Like, you might be like, oh, this character's cheeks. I pop fights or I instantly die. But, And see, that's a great example because it's like what would have happened is like, I think people get this idea of you take a soldier, you flank and you kill 6, right? You actually what would have happened would have been a sweat battle between you and Pharah. And probably what would have ended up being like a Kiriko pocketing that Pharah and maybe Mercy pocketing you. And you just kind of like sweat it out for like 30 seconds, neither of you really getting an advantage. And then eventually something happens. But that's okay. That's okay. That's a neutral stalemate. And there's no other good position available. She makes a mistake, she dies, you make a mistake, you die. Well, if you're putting in that situation in Masters 5, you want to climb to Masters 4, you should be favoring yourself in that situation. If there isn't a better angle available, take the 50-50. Do you want to look at this?
If you want. If otherwise, we can move on from.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's
wherever.
move on. We got time here. Got another code?
Let me look through. Let's see. That game was so bad. Maybe it'd be good to look at it. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is a perfect for me not flanking. Let me grab it.
Got it.
Samoa. I think I played Soldier in the second round.
Okay. What are you seeing so far? If you could say it in one sentence, what you need to improve from the previous round, what would you say?
Commitment to flanks.
Okay. Can you do a better job? An even more accurate job? What type of flanks? What information were you not taking in? I know this is challenging, but that's why I asked the question.
Use the brain. Committing to like I want to work the word experimenting into this, and I'm having a problem.
That's a good word, actually. It's a very accurate word. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's think about it this way. Remember the second fight when I was criticizing your Ana's positioning,
Yes.
and I was criticizing your positioning. Why? You had a long sight line, you had a bit of an angle, but why was your positioning still C or B? Why wasn't it not A?
Because there were just better options.
How were you to know that? How should you have known that?
Just by watching like you said, so the enemy was moving from sightline to sight. So like maybe they're in a good sightline they're in a good position from where I'm standing, but if I change my position, then their position's no longer good.
Correct. So
like if they walk.
Finish? No, finish.
I was gonna say if they open a door and they're hiding behind it, if they're like in front of a door and there's a door behind them, if I'm behind the door they just opened, now they're exposed from the back, but not the front.
So what you're doing is you're taking the information that the enemy team has given you and using that to educate your angle. Right? What you're doing is, I love this term, is the Sudoku puzzle. Is like you're not memorizing, like the solution to a Sudoku puzzle is never the same. It's always different, right? But what you are doing is you have information. You go, okay, bot's here. I know Genji's there. What angle is available to me? That's it. Is you use the information the enemy team has given you to educate your angle. Because your soldier, because you're mid-range, long-range, short-range, can reposition anywhere. You could choose whatever that weak point is. You see, the thing is soldier is one of the weakest DPS in the game when you put him on a spot and you make him static, okay? However, what makes soldier strong is he will always find that weak point. He'll always find the proper position where you're going to be the most lethal. Does that make sense? So that's why Soldier likes big maps, because there's more positions for him to choose. So you give him more choices, he's going to find that weak point. Does that make sense? And your problem is you were just kind of taking a generically long sightline, sometimes taking an angle, sometimes taking a flank, but never looking at it as like, what would be the optimal angle given the situation, given the composition, and crucially, where the enemy team is. Dynamic positioning. And I want you to go into every game, pre-fight. Where can I go? What's the optimal angle for me right now? And then the last little bit of detail is once you commit on that angle, I do not want you running back to your team. I want you deepening or I want you shallowing. Now, shallowing is going to be moving closer to your team, but I don't want you flipping the map, if that makes sense. Deepen or shallow. Don't flip. Deepen or shallow. Make sense?
Yeah. Also, I think I played soldier third point, not second. But
That's
if
fine. Do you want to look
this-
more, soldier?
We can look at this.
Do you want to look at
if you
soldier or
see
Reaper?
me, Reaper's fine. If
Reaper's
you
fine?
see me die, I'm gonna blame it on the ping because it put me on an East Coast game for some reason.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I would say maybe about 10 more minutes. So, which point would you like to
Yeah,
look at?
Reaper's fine.
Which point do you want to look at?
This one.
This one here? Okay, we'll look at this one. Alrighty. Short off angle. Shoot. That's it. Yep. Now, are you going to have a short off angle with where this fight is breaking out?
No.
So, kind of like Soldier, we have a problem. Where do you need to be? It's not easy, is it? Solve it.
Yeah, I want to get behind that Hanzo.
Okay, but you don't know the Hanzo's there. I want you to make a decision right now based off the information that you have, which is Doomfist there, Hanzo Sonic somewhere from left, Lucio's there, Kiriku's there. Where do you go?
That's Suzu. I should just long. Oh, actually, well, so like if I long flank, like here's the thing I'm balancing is like if I long flank, like I'm gone for
Correct.
a few,
Correct.
like quite
Correct.
a bit.
Long flank is 100% not the play here. 100% not the play here. But you have a tool that means you can skip the long flank process. What do you do?
Yeah, I think I might have did it, but not immediately. I TP'd. I don't know if it was this fight, but I TP'd directly behind the Hanzo.
Okay.
I might have died actually.
Okay. I don't like that play because again, you don't. You need to go now. Like I need you to take an angle. I need you to take that angle now. Where do you go?
I don't know honestly
this
because Hanzo's marking left.
Teleport here.
Okay. Onto the
Now,
point.
you actually have zero information on like if the Hanzo can see this or not, but it's a prediction. It's a prediction. You know there are people here. You know the space is open. Sounds familiar, right? Fill the space where it's empty. Take the position here, you teleport here, then you make your decision from here. Make sense?
Yeah, that does.
That simple. That simple. Now, again, it's not a perfect decision, but you're in the middle of a fight. You don't have time to make a perfect position. You need to take your best guess at an angle that's safe, and then from that position, now, once you get here, if they all shoot you, you might have to decide, am I going to Wraith out this way and die on the Vega, or am I going to Wraith back to my team? I don't really care. Your choice. But this isn't going to work. Because this is fine. Actually, I don't dislike this at all. It just could have been done faster. That's all.
Yeah.
Good? Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, all criticisms aside, because of you being slow, you did teleport on an angle. Do you notice that where you teleported as well was outside? You must play outside. You see this? Outside. Why? Not just because of visual feedback, so they don't see it necessarily, but also for them to shoot you, where do the crosshairs have to go?
Sorry, I don't understand what you mean.
So, do you see where you're positioned in relation to the clump of the enemy team? That's what I mean with outside.
I'm like around the corner. Yeah.
So for them to shoot you, they must turn around. That's what you need. You need to be on the outside. Outside. Good stuff. Nice rollout too. In terms of playing on that outside, getting that angle on the Doomfist, forcing his resources. Where are we fighting? Where are we fighting? Where are we fighting? We need to answer that quickly because this position isn't good. Where should you be right now?
I actually take the little nook on the top right there.
You got it. Are you on the outside? Yes. Are you on a short off
there?
angle?
Oh, I wasn't talking about there, but
Oh,
no, that is a good spot.
Like here or
So
where?
I wanted just to hold because, like, if Doom tries to come in, like me and Orisa like can control him pretty well. But I think we started giving up space. And it might even been me. It might have been my fault because Reaper has, he himself is just space too. Mm-hmm. But that little like thing right there.
Like here?
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I don't like that is because look at your team's body language. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where you see, we were fighting here. Your Rissa and Cassidy were fighting here, so I needed you here. That's the problem. All right. So
We were committed, or at least he was committed.
correct.
So.
And now what ends up happening is we're just backing. And so, yeah. I'm not going to blame you. That's not like a major error on your end, but it is something to point out. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep going.
Like, is it his fault that he died? But maybe
Correct.
I could have done something.
Correct.
So it
Correct.
wouldn't have happened.
His fault that he died, but you did not read where he wanted to die, and so you could have capitalized off of his death, or maybe even prevented it. That's all. Where are we fighting? I angle around that position. Where are we fighting now? Where do you need to be angled?
But outside.
It looks like I disagree. It looks like here. You see?
Okay.
Like, you see what you see here, right? Like, do you see this? Like, this is pretty much all the information that you need. So the question is, are you appropriately positioned for a fight here?
I actually just shot him just to take his attention,
Sure.
and I kept flanking.
What do you think?
I probably could have just TP'd on the Zen or walked on him. It didn't look like he was looking at me. But
Do you need to go for the Zen when you have an angle here?
no.
No, right. Don't force target priority. This position's so much better because it takes in so much less risk. Now, if these guys were all the way over here, then yeah, you would need to go for the Zenyatta because everything's too far away. But they're close, so shoot them. This is huge. Very good. Yep. This is the Pharah example. Remember the Pharah soldier 1v1, right?
Yeah.
That's it. That sucks, but that's
I
all right.
lived.
Yeah. Where do you need to go right now?
Maybe around the big thingy, the reactor.
You got it. Teleport here. We're fighting here. We need to go. Set up your angle. Let's go. You got your Wraith in 1 second. Don't chase. Don't chase. Set up your angle and go. Pull these resources this way. Allow your team to get out of the choke. You got me? Always
So-
next step. Always next step.
Yeah, I was just unsure what to do because if you look behind me, you'll see the Doom is in our spawn.
Who cares? Who
Yeah.
cares? Your job is when the fight is starting, which it is starting, to provide pressure. You can't deal with this threat right now. It's too far away, but you can make sure that these guys don't take space off of it. That's your job.
Okay.
Your job is not to be a solution to the problem. Your job is to relieve pressure off of the
'Cause then
problem.
What Doom is doing would work if I let them walk forward.
Exactly. The Doom is feeding, but the Doom will create more space off it. Because what happens is if you leave, your Cassidy dies to Venture Reaper. If you teleport here, your Cassidy does not die to Venture Reaper. And you're comfortable doing this because this is playing to your character's strengths. That's it.
Okay.
Do your job and let your teammates do their job. And if they don't, GG's go next. It's as simple as that.
Meteor strike.
See, the problem here is what ends up happening is because you went backwards, you've now completely lost the script. You're not on an angle, you're getting crossfired, and you're kind of just inside of your team. We hate to see this. You need to be somewhere floating here, or somewhere floating here, or somewhere floating here, and now it's over. Does that make sense? You have to keep yourself locked in. Again, it feels similar to Soldier in terms of the positional demands. It's just a different angle. It's a lot shorter. That's all. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Good.
it does.
This is the way to get it back, though. This is the way to get it back. Yes. Deepen. Keep going. Don't chase. Deepen this way, right? You've already got pressure here. We don't need you here as well. We're scared of that Venture wrapping around, shooting you in the back, shooting your team in the back. Take the angle. Because look at what happened when you vacated. You see it? This is your responsibility. This is your responsibility. Would you win this 2v1? No. Would you force cooldowns? Yes. Would you give scouting information? Yes. Because the other danger as well is if you turn your back to this, what if this Reaper comes around and shoots you in the back? You don't know he's there. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Hold your angle. Apply pressure. Good? Good? Good. See, it's like, what's happening is it's like you're not feeding, right? Your mechanics are fine. Your CD usage is fine. But you're narrowly avoiding disaster frequently based off of you not consistently taking your angle and or trying to just push instead of be patient. Take your angle, apply pressure for your angle. And by the way, Soldier thing, deepen or shallow. You got me?
Yeah.
Deepen or shallow. Same thing here. You want to push that Reaper Venture? Deepen or shallow. Don't go back in the middle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Next step. Where should you go right now?
To the right.
Yep. Teleport here, or give me another option. Give me something to draw a circle around them, right?
Teleport. I don't know if I could be able to do it, but I'd say behind the staircase behind them. where the Venture kind of is.
Yep. It's a situation where you unironically might only get like 1 or 2 shots and then insta Wraith. I promise you that's going to be more value than what you're doing right now. Absolutely nailed it. Beautiful. Yeah, it's TP'd from cover to cover. You have your Wraith, you have HP. Do it. Let's go. I don't hate this because of where your Orisa was positioned. This is also an angle, right? Good stuff. Good. Yes. Yes, this is good. You see it? Look. Okay, let's step it down. You're inside of your team. You go, you know what? I don't want to be here. I'm going to angle left. Short angle. Bam. Doom's out. Bam. You then deepen because you get the kill. You then deepen. You go, oh, they're all too far away, so I'm going to teleport. Are you around the enemy team still? Yes. Deepen. Bam. Force her inside of her team. She uses teleport to run away. She's dead. Venture runs away thinking that, oh, I'm safe here. Nope.
And look at that circle.
Beautiful circle. You just drew a tight circle around them and you just diffed everybody that you were on. You forced CDs, you secured kills. This is textbook Reaper. You did a great job this fight. You not only got direct value, but you also got indirect value as well, because you led directly to Doomfist's death, Kiriko's death, and Venture's death. And this is good too. This feels like where we're fighting now, so this is an appropriate angle. Good stuff.
I would like to thank my Life Weaver because Zen snuck up on me and I almost died. You'll see. But she was like, the Zen. I was like, oh shit.
Well, there you go.
I would have absolutely died.
There you go. Well, it's a good reminder, again, like I'm going to keep using that Pharah example. Whenever you take an angle, expect them to try to do something about it, and then it becomes a duel of the fates moment, right? Like it becomes a skill check, right? There's inherent risk out of the Zenyatta forcing this here, but somebody has to do something, because if they don't, they walk out of this choke, even if you don't Death Blossom, you just win the fight here, because there's just too many distractions. You kind of get what I'm saying? So don't... When you do these kind of plays, you are going to get challenged. That's just the nature of being in a higher rank. They're going to try to stop you from doing that. So just beat them. And if you lose, Wraith out, GG's. See, this here is just foolish because you're not playing your effective range. So here, what should you do?
I would go back to my team, like go back to the staircase.
Sure. You ready for something even spicier? Just back up. Because if they're trying to poke you out from too far away, screw you guys. You can't reach me in here. You see what I'm saying? Then what do?
Yeah, nothing.
They have to walk, right? They're like either nothing or they have to walk, which then puts them closer to you again. It sucks. See, the problem is
I wanted to shift here, but I think I got flashed out of it and I couldn't hit it fast enough.
I mean, the long and short of it is that, Hinder is Hinder. It's an ability of all time. But the big thing is that this is just not your effective range. That's all. Mm-hmm. So it's just not something that you're going to feel very comfortable about. That being said, I would still rather you die on the angle and force resources, force attention, because you see, you just killed the Doomfist. Why? Because where was the Venture? Where's the Kiriko? Where's the Cassidy? Still not taking space, right? They're still with you. So that's another situation where, like, even though you played the angle poorly, because you played an angle, your team wins off of it. Mm-hmm. This is good. Short off angle. Felt unnecessary, I'm not gonna lie. Where should you be right now? Choices.
I could go lower right or just... Yeah, like right there.
Yeah, and wrap this way, okay? Because this is too far, but you can always wrap, right? Or, what's your other option? Other side of the map, right?
Yeah.
Teleport here, get here, apply pressure from here. This is your cooking, but you got to do one or the other. You can't sit here and try to catch. You see this? You've lost the script here. I'm really concerned about this now. You see? You're essentially doing what you did on Soldier at that one point on New Queen Street, where you're like, I'm playing my effective range. But you're playing your effective range in the middle of your team. I need you here, or I need you here, or I need you here. And now, can you take a guess who's going to clutch this fight?
It's still going to be the Zen.
I think it's going to be the Cass, or the Zen for that matter, because...
So I flank, and what you're saying is I should have made a decision sooner. I flank Blossom him, but he doesn't have ult now, but he will get it.
Okay.
And then he lives.
The problem is it's too late. You took an angle, you got poked out, your Weaver pulled you inappropriately. Okay, that's fine. Retake it. You have the tools to retake it right now. You've had the tools to retake it for 5 seconds and you still haven't taken it, right? So the problem is there's been no pressure in Zen. There's no pressure in Doom. By the way, he would die here. he would die here, or they would die here, right? And so now I'm going to highlight this person. My prediction is on paper, this guy should carry the fight because there's no equivalent pressure from the opposite angle from you, and or there's nobody marking him here. So I'm curious. There it is. You see it?
Yeah.
That's what you lose to. That's what you lose to. Meanwhile, you are probably just sitting chasing butterflies.
Yeah.
You see? That's the problem. So you actually set up this fight well, but you got pulled out of that setup and then did nothing to improve your situation. That's the problem. So that's what teleport's for. Teleport is, okay, you didn't have time to set up mid-fight. Kind of like what happened on first fight. Remember when you were like here, you pressure the Doomfist out and then you're like, there's nobody to shoot. My thing was TP here now. Your thing was let's wait a second, and then as soon as you get an opportunity, TP behind the Hanzo. Both were fine, and the Hanzo one worked great. You've not done that here though. You lost your angle and they did nothing.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Also, I'm totally remembering it was the last fight where the Zen ults, I totally forgot.
That's okay. Let's you got time? Let's take a look. Okay. Keep rapping. I mean, you drew a circle. You didn't waste any time. This is well timed as well. No complaints for me. If he trances it, it should also get teleport and probably Suzu. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, no complaints. Good job.
Yeah.
You didn't waste any time. You immediately skipped. You went backline. Yeah. Very, very good play. Very good play. Look at the space that you guys got off of that. Look at that. That's wild. Now, as long as you don't die here. Yeah, you shouldn't have died here. That's all. You shouldn't have died here.
I'm gonna blame it on the ping, the Wraith. I
Sure.
had Wraith, I just couldn't pull it off.
Yeah. I think it's also reading the room as well. Because, like, this is when you need a Wraith. You understand? Because the pressure is gone. You're half HP, the trance is active, the Doomfist is on you. You just need to Wraith out now and find that next angle, whether that's Wraithing here, Wraithing underneath, honestly, Wraithing and contesting this guy. Like, I don't know. The problem is not the ping here. The problem is you didn't read the room. Because you could see, like, even you got a couple of nice shots in Doom, it doesn't matter because he's freaking trance. Just leave. Don't leave it up to chance. That being said, the setup, the execution, the placement, the timing of your Death Blossom, really, really good. Perfect. No complaints for me. I wish you would have been that proactive in retaking that angle on the previous fight, because then we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? But yeah, I mean, this is good. Very, very clearly good. So, Reaper feedback. We talked about Soldier feedback. Let's do this. Soldier taking angles based off of enemy positions, and then deepening or shortening angle depending on enemy response, but avoiding flipping the map. Reaper, what do you got?
Honestly, the advice feels the exact same, except just the hero is different.
It really does. It really does. Decisively taking short off angles. When you get cleared, don't give up. Next CD cycle, retake angle and space immediately. And this is where, if you've played, you talked about Overwatch Classic, this is the difference between Overwatch Classic Reaper and current Reaper. Overwatch Classic Reaper, and honestly even Overwatch 1 and early Overwatch 2 Reaper, couldn't do this as easily. You really only had one cooldown loop, and that's pretty much it. Because teleport was too slow, Wraith was too slow, and your poke damage was too bad. But current Reaper, once you get cleared off that angle, your hands are not tied. Your next cooldown cycle is just a few seconds away, and you can actually start to set up immediately. Sometimes you could set up before you even have Wraith. You'll be like 2 or 3 seconds on Wraith and just go ahead and teleport because you know you have it when you need it, right? So, you mess up on an angle, you get poked out, GG's, back to my team. Go back. Right? What's the grandpa, wait a second. is the meme here. Is the Grandpa Simpson meme, right? Like this is Reaper, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like this is just you. You get cleared out, you go right back in, and you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again, right? And you just go in and out and in and out and in and out. And I think like that's the second step is what you were missing, quite literally, right? So you would get cleared on an angle, you kind of sit inside your team because like, oh, I could just generally shoot tank and find value. No. You could shoot tank, but you need to do so from an angle. You could shoot backline, but you need to do so from an angle. The problem with Reaper is that if you're not leveraging that, a lot of other DPS characters are much more static and can kind of just sit on that angle and hold it for a long period of time. Cassidy, Torbjorn, stuff like that. So if you get cleared, you're going to get outvalued by them if you stay inside your team. You need to go reback, take space, do it again. Over and over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
But I want to compliment you on your initial setups. I think almost without exception, I think maybe there was one retake fight that was a little messy, but I think almost without exception, almost all of your first cooldown cycles, your first angles, going back to first fight, was really good. Perfect. Just keep going. Keep the foot on the gas. Make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions?
No.